Welcome to AIM What is Respite? This information session will review AIM's policies and practices for respite through the self direction program. AIM's respite policies and practices are not changing. However, this session is meant to give a more in depth education on the overall topic. AIM emphasizes working with your self direction team, including but not limited to your team self direction coordinator, your staff supports coordinator, or additional AIM supports as needed for questions regarding respite. Let's get started. AIM will be reviewing the following topics during this session: defining of respite, discussion of funding options for respite within the self direction budget to include direct provider purchase respite, agency supported respite, self hired respite, and family reimbursed respite. AIM will be reviewing more in depth information about self hired respite, including the co employment partnership, employment requirements for self hired staff at AIM, important information about supporting documentation, such as the life plan, electronic visit verification or EVV, reimbursements for self hired respite, and a review of self hired staff resources and tools for teams to utilize. By definition, respite is a service delivered to support a person with an intellectual and/or developmental disability in the home and community to provide relief to unpaid caregivers who are responsible for the self directed person's primary care. By practice, respite staff provide a break to a primary caregiver while supporting the person in self direction to be safe, healthy, and as independent as possible. Respite is beneficial to both the person who is self directing and their representative. Caregivers can trust a staff member will be there to ensure their loved one's needs and wants are met, as outlined in the life plan, while they are away, using these breaks to recharge and avoid caregiver fatigue. The life plan can be used as a tool by the representative and the circle of support team to adapt as wants and needs change. Funding options in self direction. The purpose of self direction is to provide a person with choice of their OPWDD services. The self direction budget provides an opportunity to maximize services that drive personal outcomes impactful to the person supported in the program. People in self direction have options for a customized experience that can be changed as wants and needs change. Respite is an option that a person self directing can choose to build into their budget as a service they would like to pursue. When building respite into a self direction budget, there are four types to choose from with varying funding streams for each type: direct provider purchased or DPP respite, agency supported respite, self hired respite, and family reimbursed respite. Not only are there different funding streams to access respite, but the service itself can vary from one program to another. We will take a more in depth look at these differences in the next few slides. Direct Provider Purchase Services, or DPP Respite, provides the person receiving services with the most staffing support. DPP Respite is purchased through the budget directly from a providing agency at the current Department of Health reimbursement rate as established by New York State. DPP respite rates are specific to each region in New York State. DPP respite rates and total costs should be confirmed by the providing agency and built into the budget by the support broker. The selected agency providing DPP respite acts as both the employer and the supervisor of agency respite staff, providing the most staffing support in the following areas: HR tasks and paperwork, including interviewing, hiring, onboarding, employee benefits when applicable, and processing payroll; setting of the staff pay rate, scheduling staff based on the operations of the program, training of staff and maintaining of training compliance, as well as documentation compliance, standard on the job supervision, approving timesheets and processing payroll, and conducting routine evaluations for agency staff. Through these responsibilities, the selected agency is overseeing the overall hiring, training, and management of agency respite staff for the person receiving DPP services. DPP respite is provided directly by an agency such as AIM Services. However, it is important to note that while AIM does offer DPP respite, people who are self directing their services with AIM can purchase DPP respite from any providing agency by allocating the proper funding in their budget. Please reach out to your circle of support and your self direction team with questions on DPP services in the budget. Agency supported respite programs can be modeled differently depending on the selected agency. For example, AIM has different respite programs for school age children, teens, adults, and summer schedule programs to support socialization and community recreation. For more information about any of the agency supported respite programs offered here at AIM Services, please visit our website. What is budget authority? Self hired respite is a funding option in the self direction budget. Self hired respite provides the person receiving services with the most staffing authority. Self hired respite relies on a co employment partnership with the person self directing and or their representative to provide wraparound support to the staff. In the next few slides, AIM will outline the co employment partnership role and responsibilities. AIM acts as the co employing partner responsible for record keeping the self direction program, to include HR tasks and paperwork, including onboarding, employee benefits when applicable, and processing payroll on a biweekly basis every other Friday. Maintenance of program and documentation compliance, maintenance of OPWDD required training compliance upon hire and on an annual basis thereafter, and maintenance of electronic visit verification compliance as outlined by New York State Medicaid. AIM utilizes the 25% fringe rate that is built into the budget under self hired staff to complete these tasks. The representative or person self directing acts as a co employing partner responsible as the primary staff supervisor with budget authority to maintain self hired program requirements, to include interviewing and hiring their own staff, assisting staff in applying and onboarding with AIM, adhering to AIM's hiring and onboarding practices, and routine communications with staff during the process. They are responsible for choosing their self hired schedule and the self hired pay rate. The pay rate can be selected anywhere between minimum wage and the current maximum budget hourly rate. Families can choose from New York State minimum wage up to the maximum budgeted rate in the self hired staffing category. Representatives can hire different staff at different rates based on preference. For questions or updates to frequency of respite hours and or hourly rates, budget amendments can be requested from your broker and notice of employment changes can be requested from your self-direction staff support coordinator. The primary supervisor is responsible for person-centered training to self-hired staff. This includes the life plan, which can be used to outline important details of the person's preferences. Additional supporting documentation can be determined by the primary supervisor. AIM requires agency training to be completed upon hire and on an annual basis thereafter. Primary supervisor works in partnership with AIM to support staff with routine training reminders to maintain OPWDD program compliance. The primary supervisor will assist staff with using the technology required by the program, which will include a mobile device and real time capture of services delivered. The representative or person self directing is routinely reviewing staff shifts to ensure accuracy and management of the self hired staff program. They work in partnership with AIM to complete the biannual Direct Support Professional or DSP evaluation. Self hired respite staff are responsible for maintaining their employment and policies and practices of AIM as the employer of record. Staff work in a co employer partnership with the representative or person self directing and with AIM to ensure that all aspects of the role are aligned with the person and with the program. Staff will maintain the following responsibilities. Please note that a more detailed description is available on the self direction job description that is signed by staff during the onboarding process. Collaboration with the circle of support and aim. It is important for the person self directing and their representative to communicate with staff on person centered safety protocols as noted in the supporting documentation, such as the life plan. Staff will be responsible for routinely connecting with the representative and with AIM to ensure any employment status updates are communicated to AIM. Respite is typically delivered in a direct face to face service. Staff will be providing respite in a one on one individualized face to face mode of delivery. AIM does not support group billing with self hired respite. For example, a 2-to-1 service of two staff providing support to one person is not supported. Staff must be awake while clocked in and providing respite, including when working overnight. Staff cannot be clocked in providing respite when asleep. This is because of safety concerns of the person self directing and staff not being available in case of emergency. If staff are requested to provide overnight asleep support, the family can opt to pay staff directly. If the budget supports family reimbursed respite, the family could seek reimbursement through this budget line. Use of the Avera mobile app to maintain electronic visit verification or EVV requirements to ensure that staff document services according to Medicaid standards through real time shift verification on a mobile device. The electronic visit verification or EVV requirement is the use of approved technology to deliver Medicaid services. Staff will download the Evera mobile app and access cellular or Wi Fi for timekeeping. Location services must be enabled for the Evera mobile staff app. Staff will document all shifts in the Evera mobile staff app. All necessary and only necessary information is collected when shifts are clocked in and out using the Evera mobile staff app, including the date and time of service, the type of support being provided, who is receiving service and who is providing service, where the supports are being provided, either in the home or in the community, and the total duration of supports provided. Electronic visit verification requirements are shared with staff during onboarding, as well as during staff training sessions and in staff training documents. AIM operates under New York State labor law regulations. While it is an employment requirement for staff to document via EVV, AIM understands that there may be technical errors when using the Evera mobile app for timekeeping. Staff who experience technical issues will enter a manual payroll entry on the self direction website. AIM maintains a 24-hour expectation for staff entering manual payroll to avoid any delays in staff payment. Manual template submissions are for short term use during times where technology is not working properly. If staff submit a large number of manual payroll entries, an AIM representative will reach out to them to offer additional training support to move towards Evera Mobile and EVV compliance. Family reimbursed respite is a reimbursement service paid for with 100% state funds and is capped at $3,000 annually. It is available to the family for the expense they incur in being relieved of their caregiving responsibilities. OPWDD is not paying the person or the agency that provides this relief and does not track or regulate who they may be. Services are designed to be used as needed up to the amount budgeted. The FRR provider and wage does not require prior authorization or approval. This is based on the person centered nature of the primary caregiver relief needs throughout the annual budget year. Additionally, providers of FRR are not tracked or regulated in the way agency respite or self hired respite staff are regulated by OPWDD. A person who self directs and receives a housing subsidy cannot receive family reimbursed respite. When living independently, it is expected that the person self directing does not require caregiver relief and therefore would not be requesting reimbursement for this as a self direction service because of their level of independence in the community. Supporting documentation, life plan. Representatives, as the primary supervisor, are responsible for educating and training staff on person centered practices. AIM recommends the primary supervisor build strong, routine communication, including sharing supporting documentation with staff, such as the life plan, to drive personal outcomes of the person self directing and ensure that staff are fully educated on their role and responsibilities. Routine communication. Representatives should develop a working partnership with staff to communicate updates, answer questions, address concerns, and provide additional training support as needed. AIM offers supports and services to ensure staff are successful in their role. Person centered practices. The person self directing and or their representative will have the opportunity to train their chosen staff to best align with the person self directing's wants and needs. The team will provide in depth education for the staff so that they are equipped to assist the person in being healthy, safe, and as independent as possible. As person centered planning is updated, it is important for the primary supervisor to provide continued education and training to encompass changes in staff delivery of respite services or changes to their role. Safeguard supports. The person receiving services and or their representative will also share any relevant safety information with staff. The person self-directing and or their representative will train respite staff on these safeguards and answer any questions to build confidence and to prepare staff for the role. Family reimbursed respite, or FRR, would additionally need to be identified in supporting documentation, aligning with person centered planning to support reimbursement requests. Self hired staff may have expenses reimbursed if budget funding is available to them while clocked in and providing self hired respite. To meet reimbursement criteria, additional support documentation, such as itemized receipts and proof of payment, may be requested. Staff have two potential reimbursement options: individual directed goods and services, or IDGS transportation, which reimburses mileage when a staff and a person self directing are traveling in the community, and other than personal services, or OTPS staff activity fees, which reimburse staff for meals, admissions, fees, or other costs they incur when supporting a person self directing. It is important to note that staff will be required to provide supporting documentation to include important information about staff reimbursement requests, as this is used by the AIM accounts payable team to process reimbursements in accordance with AIM's reimbursement policy. For FRR, the service constitutes both the family incurring the expense and the FI's reimbursement. Invoices cannot be paid to the FRR provider directly. However, representatives may use the Evera portal to enter reimbursement requests to include the following: the date of service, the time service started, the time service ended, and the cost of service, up to the annual budgeted amount with a maximum of $3,000. The team will work with the AIM Accounts Payable Specialist team to process reimbursements in accordance with AIM's reimbursement policy. Due to the individualized nature of the self direction budget, a person receiving services may benefit from one type or a combination of more than one type of respite. Families can work with their broker to build a budget that accommodates DPP respite, self hired respite, or family reimbursed respite services if funding streams are available. To recap, the main difference between DPP and self hired respite is choosing between more staffing support by the agency compared to more staffing authority by the person self directing. DPP offers the person self directing with more staffing support to include all HR tasks and paperwork, interviewing, hiring, onboarding, benefits, payroll, and training, supervision, and evaluations. Self hired respite offers the person self directing with more staffing and authority to include choosing the self hired staff, interviewing, hiring, choosing the pay rate, and schedule. They are responsible as the primary supervisor for on the job training in how the self directed person would like to be supported, and routine management and communication with the co employing partners and circle of support members. Family reimbursed respite is a reimbursement service available to the family for the expense they incur in being relieved of their primary caregiver responsibilities. This service is designed to be used as needed up to the amount budgeted with an annual cap of $3,000. An example of a combination of respite services may look like a self directing person opting to work with a self hired staff of their choosing during the school year and then attending an agency supported summer respite program with their peers during the summer break. The representative may also occasionally use family reimbursed respite during times when they need caregiver relief. The team can customize the budget and supporting documentation to identify all supports and services. The AIM difference. Circle of support teams are assigned AIM self direction administrative teams. AIM self direction administrative teams specialize within their role and responsibilities to wrap around the self directing person throughout the program. These team members include the self-direction coordinator as the point person for the self-directing person and or their representative to assist with self-direction needs such as programmatic questions, participation in planning meetings, review of supporting documents, and circle of support communication. The staff supports coordinator acts as a liaison between staff and the circle of support, assisting with AIM policies and practices, staff employment status changes, staff evaluations, and benefits as applicable. The accounts payable specialist works in partnership with the circle of support and with AIM self direction administrative teams to ensure the smooth processing of expenses available within the budget by maintaining review of programmatic and reimbursement criteria. AIM has additional supports and services available to staff and circle of support teams, including the following: onboarding team, self direction payroll team, and education and training team. AIM offers robust training opportunities and methods for self hired staff and circle of support teams to be successful and confident within their partnership and role and responsibilities. The education and training team has created different learning pathways for a combination approach, including the following: AIM Live Weekly Training. AIM's training and education team hosts weekly live interactive sessions on Zoom available for circle of support teams and for staff. During these sessions, attendees will learn how to use the Vero platform for their role. However, anyone can register for training on AIM's self direction website on the education calendar. For staff, training is held on Wednesdays. New staff are invited and encouraged to attend training, as well as current staff who would like to refresh their skills. Staff attendance is paid to support in learning their role and responsibilities. Attendees of the weekly training receive a follow up email to include direct access to AIM tools and resources, as well as the education and training team contact for more individualized support when needed. AIM step by step Evero instructions. AIM has developed how to documents for the Evero platform with screen by screen instructions for each function of the software. Teams can access these documents by emailing their staff supports coordinator or by visiting AIM's self direction website. AIM How to YouTube videos. AIM has developed on demand videos as an optional method for flexibility and self paced learning. AIM self direction YouTube playlist includes how to videos with complete screen by screen instructions on each function in Evero. Staff have access to videos on how to clock in and out and how to submit reimbursements when applicable. Teams can access these videos by emailing their staff supports coordinator or by visiting AIM's YouTube channel. AIM Self Direction Team. For person specific supports, teams have designated AIM administrative representatives to provide wraparound support, such as the staff supports coordinator, self direction coordinator, accounts payable specialist, and Circle of Support team. This is a visual example of AIM's self direction website at www.aimservicesinc.org, where teams can access tools and resources on a 24/7 basis. AIM's YouTube channel is also available 24/7 with self paced how to videos for external teams as another learning option for self direction. AIM encourages Circle of Support teams to be in routine communication with their self direction coordinator and their staff supports coordinator. If you need assistance locating your team, please visit the self direction staff directory link where teams can locate their AIM administrative teams. Thank you for joining the session AIM What is Respite?